Alrighty. So, should you take fish oil? Fish oil is America's most popular dietary supplement. So that's why I figured it'd be something interesting to our team members. And in fact, 8% of all U.S. adults are currently taking fish oil, which is pretty astounding when you consider that nobody had heard of fish oil about 20, 25 years ago at all. So pretty much 0% of people were taking it. They maybe were taking some cod liver oil, but that was like a sort of fringe interest at the time. So now it's about, well, 1 in 12 people. And so if we've got 27 people on the call, then we've got at least 2 people taking fish oil, maybe more. So fish oil is synonymous with krill oil and DHA, EPA, algae oil. There's a couple same idea type supplements. And the reason that people take fish oil is for a specific fatty acid in there. That's why you can have all the same benefits, and these are all the same idea. This DHA EPA is actually, I'm not sure, I think I'm hearing feedback on time. The DHA EPA is actually names for the actual specific omega-3 fatty acids. So why is it so popular? I just want to kind of hear what you guys have heard about fish oil. So just shout it on out there for me. This is the audience participation. General health benefits.
Brain health.
Brain health, absolutely right. Any specific conditions you've heard that it can benefit?
Inflammation is good for, like, really good for your joints, especially me being my age. I do take it, and our job is physical, so that's my main reason for taking for sure.
Absolutely, it's anti-inflammatory. And has anybody heard about the specific special nutrients in there? I kind of already dropped that one, but just want to see if anybody already had picked up on that. What is the nutrient in fish oil that we're after?
In your own hometown, is that
it's a fat. Oh, I think somebody needs to put themselves on mute. I'm sorry. If you're not,
omega?
Yeah, it's omega-3, and somebody's not on mute. Okay, now that I think they are. Yes, omega-3 fatty acids, the kind of fatty acid that our bodies need. So here are just a few, actually, of all of the many health claims of fish oil. And these health claims are based on the benefits of these omega-3 fatty acids that are in the fish oil capsules, all these different things. So brain building, dry eyes, preventing blindness, fatty liver, rheumatoid arthritis, even, it's a very serious kind of arthritis, lowering triglycerides, heart attacks, strokes, mental disorders, and Alzheimer's. So is it possible that one little capsule can really do this? Or is it just hype? That's a decent question. And I've seen a lot of people asking that on Google. So let's take a look at that. What's the answer? Well, bottom line is it's not hype, but we have to consider that fish oil and fish are different. We're not necessarily getting that omega-3 that we think we're getting when we're taking fish oil and not just eating oily fish. So here's what's true about this, all of this stuff here. It is totally true that our body cannot make omega-3, so we need to eat it. And whenever this is the case, like if there's a nutrient that our bodies need, they can do a lot of things if we haven't been getting it, right? So if we are deficient in a nutrient, all kinds of things can go wrong. And therefore, if we suddenly supplement that nutrient, it can help all kinds of things. So it is true that we do need to eat it. It's also true there's lots of omega-3 in fish, especially oily fish, not all fish. I'll give you a list of the oily fish in a moment. And it's also true that we know that people who eat these oily fish on a regular basis appear to be healthier than people who don't do that. But here's the problem. The omega-3, which is the whole purpose, this is the main nutrient that we want, the omega-3 is rapidly lost during processing and heating. And fish oil is processed and heated. So that presents a real problem. And that's the real challenge here. So here's what the science shows. This is from a pretty reputable website, the NIH, National Institute of Health. The bottom line is that research shows that the supplements don't do the things, all of the things that we expected them to do. And specifically, they don't reduce the risk of heart disease. And I bring that one up because that is kind of like the first one that was discussed and one of the main initial benefits behind the push for doctors recommending everybody take omega-3 supplements. But it does show that high doses of omega-3, specifically actually the prescription kind, can reduce triglycerides, which are kind of fat in your bloodstream. And when your triglycerides are high, it can increase your risk of heart attacks. But interestingly, even though you can take omega-3 and reduce your triglycerides, it still doesn't, we don't see any evidence that doing that reduces the actual risk of heart disease yet. So we do see evidence that these supplements may help relieve symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis. And there's evidence that they can help prevent the most common, there's no evidence that they can actually help prevent all the other things, including age-related macular degeneration. And I'm bringing this one up because eye doctors typically recommend this, the omega-3 supplements, but there's actually no evidence that the supplementation works anywhere near as well as getting the omega-3 in your diet from fish. So, there again, once again, that the point is food beats supplements, right? So we didn't see all of the expected benefits, and why not? Well, I already said what I think is the main reason, that it's the processing that damages the omega-3. Here's some other theories that you know, if you're already eating seafood, having a supplement that gives you even more omega-3 may just not benefit you at all. In other words, more is not better. There may be things in the seafood besides the omega-3 that also help promote health. And actually, here's a really important one. Some of the benefits that we see in people eating seafood, like people who eat seafood being healthier, it may have nothing to do with the fact that they eat seafood in some cases, and a lot to do with the fact that, well, if they're eating seafood, maybe they're not eating so much junk food, right? And there is actually evidence that people who like fish have generally healthier lifestyles. Pretty interesting, I thought. So bottom line is I recommend avoiding most fish oil supplements. And I want to show you why and help you understand like what the problems are. I mean, and that it's not just like, well, you're not going to get the benefits. It goes beyond that. You can actually get some toxic stuff that you're paying money for. So that's no good. I promised I would show you which are the oily fish that you could just eat. So herring, different types of herring, they go by different names. Kipper is one that I've heard. Sardines, different types of sardines, salmon, trout, and mackerel. So even that canned salmon that you see in the grocery store for like $3 for a can, way cheaper than, you know, the fresh fish or the frozen salmon, has the omega-3. What you want to do is avoid fish that is canned in oil other than olive oil. It's fine if it's canned in water, but canned in cottonseed or any of the other oils that I'm always telling, vegetable oils I'm always telling folks to avoid, no good. You lose the omega-3. So you start with this when you're making fish oil. You start with actual fish, and they come into a factory. This is I'm going to show you in a moment how fish oil is manufactured. This is actually from a fish oil processing plant, but it could be just a fish oil cannery, right? It starts out the same. But the thing is, you have to do a lot of stuff to get the fish oil out of the fish. So you have to, you know, separate the solids from the liquids, then you have to separate the oil from the water, and then you get your little bit of fish oil. And this is just from an inside story from inside an actual factory, where it's probably overseas, where most of the fish oils sold in this country are produced in conditions like this. And so what we're seeing is a rusty piece of equipment, and rust is extremely damaging to the oils in fish oil. And, you know, really no controlling for exposure to oxygenation in the air. Then it gets pumped through all these pipes, which are probably lined with lead, picking up different toxins beyond what were already in there. More processing, and you know, this high pressure produces heat, and you see some of the heat just like rising off of that. That's how extreme the pressure is. The heat also damages the oils, and in the end, you've got like a bunch of solids. That's these guys are selling the fish meal as well as the oil, so not really good. And here's why it's really not good, because you find when you test for the toxic breakdown products of fish oil, you find lots of toxic breakdown products in most fish oils. So this is from a study that looked at 3 over-the-counter brands and 1 prescription brand in terms of how much toxin was present in the fish oil. This is like 4 bar graphs here. And you're seeing that 3 of the 4 bar graphs dramatically exceed this threshold of upper limit of acceptable toxin to be present on a percentage basis in the oil. All 3 over-the-counter brands exceed it. Some dramatically exceed it. So this, like the dotted line is somewhere around 30, and the brand Y here goes up over 200. And now the good news is that the prescription omega-3, which is the stuff your doctor has to prescribe, and it costs a whole lot of money, but insurance usually pays for a lot of it. That actually did not have so much toxin that it exceeded the threshold, but it still had some. So that just shows you that these things are very, very fragile and they break down very easily. And even under the best possible controlled environment of a prescription quality lab that produces fish oils that cost like $200 for a month's supply, you still get some toxins. Here's another study that looked at a whole bunch of other fish oil supplements. And I just wanted to show you this to see the variety of amounts of toxin when these things are selected at random. So this is the same kind of idea on this side. This dotted red line is the upper limit of toxicity in the oil. And you can see that there's a whole bunch of them that exceed the upper limit of toxicity. And I'm sorry that my dog is probably barking. If you hear that, that's an Amazon delivery driver, which is mortal enemies. So the other thing I wanted to show you on this is that some of these 43 have extremely tiny amounts of toxins, right? Very, very little. And then there's all these in-between kinds. So you might think, well, you know, okay, the majority of them are between this little itty bitty bit and too much, right? But here's what you need to know. The longer they sit in your house, the more toxin you're going to have in the fish oil. And so when you buy it, if there's a little bit of toxin in there, if like there's this much in between amount, by the time 30 days have passed, that toxin has like probably doubled or tripled or gone up by 10x. So because they are that unstable. If there's a little bit of toxin in there, it quickly becomes a lot. So what can you do? Is there anything that, how do you find like these best ones? Well, here's my advice. It's not super easy to find, but you can do it. You have to look for fish oils that speak to the problem that occurs, which is oxidation. I mentioned they're unstable, and I mentioned that like in the rusty looking factory, they did not control for oxidation. It's oxidation that causes the toxins to form. So if in the marketing, they specifically mention controlling for oxidation, that's a good sign. It doesn't necessarily mean that they actually do that because this is an unregulated industry, but I wouldn't touch a fish oil that doesn't say this, okay? So this is the language that you want is non-oxidized, and the actual technology that they use is called supercritical extraction with carbon dioxide. And it's not just hype, actually that's a real thing. They use carbon dioxide, they like pump carbon dioxide into the processing environment to replace the oxygen, right? That's how you control oxygenation reactions. You just remove the oxygen. So this is a decent brand. I have a link to it on my website that I'm going to show you later if anybody's interested. This is like Joe Average brand, and I would avoid these. So even though they make these claims that they have special fancy things in them, sorry, I hope my dog stops barking. Like sesame seed lignin extract and you know, all this kind of stuff. This does not do anything to control the oxidation reactions. You have to remove the oxygen. And another thing that's kind of a red flag is that it says highly refined. Highly refined is never a good thing when it comes to unstable fatty acids. So you want to avoid anything that says highly refined, even though it says other good things like non-GMO and stuff like that. Most of the articles out there, if like you forget what I've said and you're like, well, let me just look for online and see what is the recommendation for a good fish oil. Most of the articles I found say nothing about this key piece of information that I just told you about oxidation reactions. They talk about other stuff because most people don't know what oxidation is and how important it is. Anyway, so like this is from a website called smarterreviews.com, and here's what their recommendations are that are kind of like, yeah, this is true, but they all say this stuff anyway, so it doesn't help you. So EPA and DHA, okay, fish oil better have that or it's not fish oil, so that's pretty basic. They're all going to say that. I think this one that I recommended, it says that, EPA and DHA, so there you go. Third-party tested to make sure that it's actually pure and potent. That is totally meaningless. Unless they show the results of the third-party testing. You want to see that certificate. And even if they do that, that just means they managed to make one batch that passed the test. So it really doesn't say very much at all. You kind of just have to take it on faith since it's an unregulated industry. And then finally, their recommendation that lemon oil might help neutralize the flavor. And they say that the fish burp is caused by not having lemon oil. That is nonsensical. The fish burp, a lot of people have experienced when you take your fish oil capsules, it can cause heartburn because there's toxins in there. That's why, plain and simple. So if you happen to break down those capsules quickly, then you are more likely to get that exposure to those toxins that are in the capsules right after taking the fish oil, and notice that it might be the fish oil doing that. But not having that fish oil burp doesn't mean anything either. It just means that your body's kind of adapted to handling that toxin a little bit better. And it doesn't mean there's no toxin in there if you don't get a fish oil burp. And lemon oil has nothing to do with any of it. So that's just a misperception that's out there, and I wanted to bring your attention to it. So now that I've told you that it's better to eat fish than fish oil capsules, but there are the occasional, and by the way, not cheap, right? I didn't mention this yet, but see the price here. This is $42, and these other ones are a lot more temptingly priced at $24 and $6. You do have to account for serving size. And so when you do that, you have to do some complicated math here, looking at the amount of DHA and EPA. So this has, one capsule has about half of the amount that you need. So you really need 2 capsules. But they're saying that this is, so in other words, this 120 soft gels are going to last you a month, right? So it's $42 for a month's supply. Whereas this one is $6 for a month's supply. This one, if you look at the serving sizes, you have to take 4 capsules, I'm sorry. So this is only a half a month's supply. So that's kind of random. But unfortunately, this isn't, even though this is more expensive, it isn't any better. I wouldn't say it's any better than this cheaper one, honestly. So let's get back to this question. Why fish? Like, if this omega-3 business is so important to our health, why would it be that people who can't eat fish, would it really be the case that people who can't eat fish are just doomed? Like if you don't live near, what do you do if you live in a desert? Well, the answer is, if you're healthy, you don't actually need to eat fish. Your body can make fish oil. And that's kind of a key thing to understand. And it's really, really something that makes a huge difference to your health. If your body can actually manufacture this stuff, you don't need a supplement. You don't even need to eat fish. So I'm saying that our body can make fish oil from other foods that contain omega-3 fatty acids. Not all omega-3 fatty acids are the same. That's why some are short and some are long. And the ones in fish just happen to be long. And when I say long, I mean there's more molecules in them. This is like a graph here on the right shows that there's 18 carbons in the kind of smaller, shorter omega-3s and our body can elongate them into this 20 and 22 carbon long fatty acids that are the EPA and DHA that do the magic of fish oil. But when your body is healthy, you can do this elongation yourself so that you don't actually need to eat fish oil. You can just eat other things that have omega-3, which is most seeds and most dairy products, and a lot of meats and fish if they're pasture raised. So like I said, your body can do this if your metabolism is healthy, and you can actually tell if your metabolism is healthy enough because there's specific enzymes that need to be functioning to do this. And that's what I mean in this case by a healthy metabolism. If those enzymes if your metabolism is healthy, chances are really good that those enzymes are functioning, and you can tell. So if you're on ABC health insurance, you've gotten your triglycerides and your HDL measured this year, hopefully already. So you can go home and look at your triglyceride number and your HDL number and do some math. And if your triglycerides are more than 2.5 times your HDL number, then these enzymes are probably not working right now in your body. And that's not good. So not only does it mean that if you want to get omega-3 benefits, you have to get this more expensive kind of fish oil product. It means that there's probably a lot of other things in your body that aren't working that well. How do you fix it? Well, these oils that I'm always telling folks to avoid, the seed oils, also known as vegetable oils, I call them the hateful 8, canola, corn, cottonseed, and so on, that are in a lot of processed food products, things like mayonnaise and peanut butter and stuff. Always look at labels. These oils block your omega-3 elongation enzymes. So when you've been eating these things, they're in your body fat, and they block the enzymes you need to do this process here of elongating the 18 carbon omega-3s into these longer ones that help us fight inflammation and help with brain health and all that good stuff that we want. And in fact, if you have a lot of these oils in your body fat, you can take fish oil, and these oils will oxidize the beneficial fatty acids in fish oil. So even taking the best quality fish oil won't do you very much good. So that's why I'm always telling folks, you got to pay attention to these oils, you got to read labels. So if you are in good shape, if your numbers are good, your triglycerides are not more than 2.5 times your HDL, then your body can make a lot of fish oil on its own. And all you have to do is enjoy nuts, especially walnuts, different kinds of seeds, especially pumpkin seeds. Those are particularly high in omega-3. Healthy cooking oils like olive oil, full fat dairy, including butter, including like real yogurt with whole fat. A lot of people don't realize that the flavored yogurts are low fat or zero fat. So you're not getting any healthy fats in there. And the best kind of dairy is from cows that were grass fed. They got to eat grass. The label will always say that when that's the case. That's how you could tell, because it's more expensive. Also, that's another way you could tell. Oily fish, according to the previous slide, and liver. If anybody really likes chicken liver, cow liver, whatever kind of liver, there's lots of omega-3 in there. It's great stuff, super healthy for you. Lots of other good things in liver as well. And I wanted to just show you where to find, what page to go to find the fish oil supplements. This is on my website, and this is the link. This page tells you basically a lot of stuff that I tell folks when I work with them one-on-one about what's a good supplement and how to tell what kind of supplements you need. I've included this clip of the top part of my page because there are 5 supplements that I recommend to everyone and that I take myself. And as you scroll down, you'll find the fish oil recommendation. Great. So now I want to open it up to questions to see if anybody has any questions in the next couple of minutes that I have.
Yeah, just a quick question. I saw something on the slide about grapeseed. So I take like a grapeseed supplement because in my research I read that it also helps with inflammatory issues. So
not true. Sorry to say.
Oh, okay.
Grapeseed has very little omega-3, and you'd be better off. You'd be better off like with flaxseed, honestly. But again,
that's in my diet. I was just
Okay. All right. Good. Very good. Yeah. So you don't need additional because this is very high in omega-6. It does have some omega-3, but it's also very high in omega-6, and the same would apply. Like it would have to be, they really ought to say something about like no oxidation when you buy any kind of a supplement. Like
well, it's like a grape seeds. I don't want to say syrup, but I take it, with a spoon. Yeah.
okay,
So
that's good.
that's what I mean.
Okay. Well, so same idea, but when you take it with a spoon, you have an advantage over when you're taking it in a capsule. You can taste it. Does it have any taste?
It's not as bad as the other one that I take too in the mornings, especially like when the pandemic started. I did a lot of research on things that, try to make everything natural. So a lot of things that you talked about, sesame seed and stuff like that, I've been doing. So I haven't really had any, bad health issues since everything started. So my son, who's all into our natural stuff, he was like, "Mom, you need to be taking this grapeseed oil and a whole bunch of other supplements." My son recommended. So
Yeah, so you might want to read through this page. There's about
yeah.
The supplement industry is about as lucrative as the pharmaceutical business, and so you just really have to kind of remember that just because it sounds natural and stuff like that, they're still in it for the money, and it's not necessarily any of it is true, and that's part of the reason. Don't feel silly or any. I'm not saying this to like, oh, you should have known better.
No.
That's why I'm here, is partly because it's really hard to sort out fact from fiction when people give you really nice sounding slick marketing copy. So that's why I'm here. Anytime, just reach out with questions and I'll take a look at what you've got.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Good question. Anyone else?